Hello, good afternoon. Hope you're all well. Thank you for joining us. Oh, I just noticed I haven't plugged the computer in. That'll help. Otherwise it'll go off on its own when it wants to. There we are. Right, we plugged it in. There we are. Hopefully that hasn't affected anything. We'll just go and check everything. That'll help. There we are. Everything seems fine. Okay, so I got the camera zoomed out a little bit further than normal, and the reason for that is because I thought today we would go through a few basic things. I mean, a big part of why we've done the YouTube channel is basically to help. That's a big part of what we do, and to encourage and give ideas that will hopefully help others to get into scroll sawing, wood carving, Lovespoon carving, whatever your interest is. And to share sort of ideas, experiences, that sort of thing, that you know, we've developed over the years. And yeah, hopefully it might sort of move people in the right direction. So the idea with this is this live stream is going to very much be focused on new scroll sawers. However, those of you who have got more experience, and I'll sort of state this as I go along, those of you who are more experienced, if you can share your own tips and ideas, I think then seeing that in the feed might be really useful to any new scroll sawers for them to be able to develop. So let's get into it. Let's share what this is all going to be about then. First thing that we're going to look at, the machine. So we use a Hegner Multicut 2S. That's the machine that we recommend. It's served us well. This particular machine here is 25 years old, something like that. And it continues to do a fantastic job for us. Is it necessary to have a Hegner Multicut, or can you use other ones? Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of that really, the right machine for the individual comes down to you as an individual and how much you are using your scroll saw and how much scroll sawing you're actually doing. So an entry-level machine, if you're only doing it as a hobby, wondering if you're going to get into it, then an entry-level machine is fine for a start. We make sure that we bolt it to the base and the base to the floor. So those are some of the sort of basics. We're not going to go too much into that because we've done loads of tutorials. You can refer to them, all sorts of videos we've done on that. One thing we do get asked at different times is about the blade installation. So I thought we'd go through that again. Right, we use reverse tooth blades, as we've stated time and again. And it's quite easy with a reverse tooth blade to know which is the top and the bottom. It's basically the 6 teeth that are either, that are on the one end. They basically go into the bottom. The Hegner has got a really useful little guide on the side, and it shows us that the flat edges, so if you're not sure about installing a blade, the flat edges of the blade, they go to the bottom. So simple rule of thumb, the flat edges of your scroll saw blade, they go to the bottom holder. As I said, we're fortunate, the Hegner, they put a simple little guide next to the blade changer. Good idea for, that they've done that. What we then do, you simply install it. We've got a quick release clamp on the top there, and you basically install the bottom, you put the tension on, and the machine's ready to go, ready to work. So what I'm going to demonstrate is to just cut out some simple things. For myself, my own woodworking journey started with the humble yet mighty keyring. And that's what we're looking at. And I demonstrated this at different times. I've also got another upload that's focusing more on this. But the idea of this is to show you how, that basic, cutting that outline is the basis then for all of the scroll sawing that you do. As a technique, we use it time and again. We use in stack cutting. We make sure that that blade, we check it with a set square to make sure that the blade is square. So it is cutting square to make life easier for us. And then from there, it is a process of literally following the guideline. Now, as the designs get more complex, as you're taking on more difficult tasks, the guideline, it is what it says. It's a guideline. Sometimes you go off the line, you go inside, you go outside. You can sort all of those things out. Don't worry too much about following that line. Do your best, but if you just go slightly wrong with it, don't worry. You can correct that as time goes on. Henry, hello. Thank you for joining us. Yeah, any input from anyone like yourself who's been scroll sawing for a while? Any ideas, anything that you want to contribute to this? The idea is trying to help out anyone who's an absolute newbie to scroll sawing, and to encourage, because that's one of the fundamental things about our YouTube channel, is to help those who are starting out. That's a really important thing for us. I hope all is well with you and everybody else as well. But yeah, any ideas you've got that you think are relevant, that were important to yourself when you first started as well, any contributions would be much appreciated. So the reason I say the key ring is the starting point, and it's simple yet mighty, is because this product here, I cut this out, and there are several little adaptions which I'll explain that I include, and this sells time and time again. So it's a great one if you are new to scroll sawing and you would like to start selling at an early stage. Keyring should be top of the list of things to do. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to explain it first, and then I'm going to demonstrate. As I cut this out, fundamentally, what I will be doing is using one hand to clamp down so the item doesn't start bouncing around. So we use that one hand on the scroll saw to give that pressure downwards to stop it bouncing around. And then I'll use the other hand to guide the item through the scroll saw. And what tends to happen is at different times it changes over. So initially I might be holding down with my left hand and guiding with the right. And as the project progresses, there might be a point when I'm sort of guiding with both and feeding with both. And then at another point in the project, it might turn around where I am then clamping down with the right and clamping down with the right and then guiding with the left. So that's what we do. So you're changing those techniques as you go along. But those are the two fundamental things when it comes to using your scroll saw, is you've got one hand that's holding down, stopping it from bouncing about, and the other hand then is just guiding it through the machine. So I'm going to move that camera lens a little bit closer for everyone to be able to see a little better, and then I will proceed with cutting out our keyring design. Let's have a look. We just refocus it. Now, other simple little ideas as well that I will add to what I've explained so far. When it comes to sort of ensuring your own safety and things like that, I have the dust mask because I use a blower. I know there are dust extraction units that you can attach, but I choose to use that blower to blow the dust away. It tends to blow it towards me, so I have a mask for the dust. I have glasses to protect the eyes, but I've also got a visor, but I tend to find that if I don't use glasses, my eyes get quite clogged up, and the ear defenders for the noise. But let's show you how we can cut this out, and then I'll show you and explain a few variations on it. Any questions as we go along as well, get them in. And any thoughts, any tips for the absolute beginner, share them. It would be really useful for anyone who's just getting started. that, we've got ourselves 3 key rings. 1, 2, 3. There we are. We're just holding together. 1, 2, 3. As quick as that. And this is great as well. If you are doing any sort of, oh, hello to the carver, hope all is well. You're just on time. That is perfect timing, as always. Because, yeah, if you're doing anything, like you're going to an event, for example, and you're looking for a simple little product to take with you to sort of add to the items you got to sell, what a, you know, it's such a quick, simple little idea. And there are a couple of variations that we add to our keyring. So the first 2 I'm going to explain, and then the next one I'm going to demonstrate. Thomas Woodcarvers has come in.
Yachida.
Yachida, Prananda. Yeah, the first variation is where you can use piercework and you can cut out a simple little heart on the inside. So that's one variation you can add to your simple keyring. The second variation is to carve, say for instance, we do a 5-petaled flower. So you just carve a simple little flower on there, add some hand carving. The third one, which we'll demonstrate after we cut out this one here. So I cut this one out for you to see just that oval and all of these. What is the reason I recommend these for anyone who's beginner, you know, an absolute newbie? So that's the focus of this, is very much for newbies. Yeah, it's because you're practicing those skills of following the guideline. And always remember as well, one thing we will do, see, is if you make mistakes as you're following that guideline, you can use like the side attachment on the belt sander just to round everything off and nobody knows that you've made a mistake. So a lot of, you know, this is sort of common thing when it comes to woodworking, as most of you will be well aware of. If you make little mistakes, if things go wrong, you know, we're working by hand. That's how you can give things individuality. If everything's identical, then it looks more like CNC type thing. We want individuality. So you've got to make any little mistakes, you make the best of it and use them to help out. I'll put it as well to the carver. Any little tips you've got for newbies working on the scroll saw, that's what this is all focusing on, is to get people who've got very little backgrounds in scroll sawing, just to give a few ideas, few pointers to help them along the way. And I hope all is well too. Forgot to ask. I hope all is well with you and the family. Thomas the Woodcarver's waiting. Have you got something to share
Yeah,
with everyone?
I was, you know, because you're doing something very simple, aren't you?
Absolutely, yeah.
And I mean, might be of interest for people. The time that it took to make those 3 key rings. Have you done 6 now, have you?
We got 6 items ready to go.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
what we didn't demonstrate was all the preparation.
you didn't do the preparation.
Yeah.
But preparation, what would it be?
Again, it would be
15
relatively quick to prepare stuff like that. Yeah.
15 minutes, we'll say.
Yeah.
Okay, at the outset.
Yeah.
And you've got...
These are what we would call sort of bread and butter items, really, aren't they?
So you've got 15 minutes. We've got another 15 minutes. Okay, I'll drill a hole, preparation. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah, 6 items
They're going
already.
to sell for just under £5.
Yeah, once we've added to them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you've got the attachment, the keyring.
Yeah. Couple of pence.
Yeah.
Not expensive, 20 pence maybe.
So, you know, for anybody, the financial...
Well, if you're thinking of getting into scroll sawing and thinking that it may be a route to you having a sideline or your own business, here's a basis. Here is a basis that you can use. Here, and I've got a video upcoming on this again that I'm going to focus on again. But this, the humble, that's why I call it the humble but mighty keyring.
Yeah.
Because if you can't do any wood carving, it doesn't matter. You can cut these out. And as you're learning, because for instance now, we've got just a little lip, just where it finishes cutting. There's just a tiny little lip there. All I'll do is I'll put that on the belt sander, and nobody will even know it was there.
Yeah.
So it'll be gone. And then you can drill a hole. You can use a hand drill. We use a pillar drill because it's more accurate, and you'll get them more square on. And if you're stack cutting, but that gives us that. And as I mentioned, you could do an internal cut of a heart or a little shape. You could do a hand carving, or you could do this. And I've got a video where I focus on this and I go through the process of how we've done this. But basically, the reason I'm doing this today is because I did a video focusing on this, and I always do the video sort of quite a bit in advance, but we've sold probably 50% of the key rings that we've made with the initial. So we need to replace them. But it's just to show, if we can sell 50% through the workshop as a sort of bread and butter item, it's worth sharing with you all. Right, let's have a little look. We missed anything there? Don't be scared when the blade grabs and the pieces jump. Just keep firm, consistent pressure on the pieces you cut. Yeah, spot on. It was that technique we were saying about. Sometimes we're holding down with the one hand and guiding with the other. Sometimes it's in reverse, and sometimes it's a combination of the two.
Have you done the other tip as well with the actual blade? Because I sand the blade.
Well, yeah, I mean, you sand the end so it grips better, And I find that is especially if you're using Pegasus blades. Pegasus make good blades. We recommend Niqua, but Pegasus make good blades.
I put the blade on.
What he does, he gets a bit of sandpaper, glass paper, and he just sands the ends just to rough them up.
Always in a block though, flat, like so.
Yeah, so he roughs up the ends so they grip a little bit better.
I don't know if you can see that there.
Job. Thank you very much.
I just go, and you can see it, look.
So when you remove the whole down,
shining.
You just remove the whole arm. Okay, I can do that. So when you remove the whole down piece, you just remove the whole arm. Okay, I can do that.
Okay, Dave, I'm just showing that. I think it's on camera.
Yeah.
I'm just doing that. Just to clean any grease.
Anything that's on there, you just tidy it up.
It just helps to give an extra sort of grip.
Yeah.
When you tighten that there and on the bottom.
Do you understand that one there? It says, so when you remove the whole down arm, you just remove the whole piece. Yeah, I mean, basically, that what you're referring to as the whole down arm, the top arm. So basically, what we would do, we're going on to pierce work now. Basically, when we stop at the end, there's two options. You either cut through, so you release the blade, or you stop the machine. In that instance, you're just making a decision what you think is going to work best on each individual piece. In that one, I thought it was best to stop the machine, keep holding it down, and then release the blade tension. Right, with this is why, when we're going on to pierce work, this is why we remove that plate, that one there. Okay, so with the pierce work, we mentioned this a number of times, we basically feed that one through like so, and then we do our pierce work first of all. So our D for die is the only letter that we need to cut out any pierce work on. The rest of it, we're cutting the outlines. And anyone starting off, that's what we recommend. Most of the time, you're best to do the pierce work, the internal cuts first, and then cut your outlines. I use Flying Dutchman Ultra Reverse. Yeah, Flying Dutchman, and so basically Ultra Reverse, yeah, very similar. That's very similar to our Nikwa number 9 reverse tooth blade, because when we've looked at it, Flying Dutchman and Nikwa, they're the same blades, so it's just they're easier to get in certain places. I think he's talking about the hold down bit. He is referring to the piece that comes on other saws. Right. I have also put brass in between two pieces of wood and cut designs with wood blades. Yeah, I mean, you can get specific metal blades as well. But that's the beauty of working with the scroll saw, is that, yeah, it can cut different materials. So, you know, you can cut, there's specific metal blades, but people work in MDF, they work in plastics. You know, there's all sorts of different things. We've used it. If we're working on a job in the house, for instance, and there's a piece of plastic that you're trying to get to line up, the scroll saw, you can mark it all out. It's so accurate, it can make a real difference. So I'm just going back to what the Carl was saying, thinking about the hold down bit. He's referring to the piece that comes on other saws. Right. I think it's something that I'm not familiar with then. I mean, basically, yeah, that's what you're doing. Quick release. Bring that down. Tighten up the quick release with the clamp. Tighten it up like so. And away you go. You can try that as well if you ever have problems with blades slipping. Like Dad mentioned, you can get the a little bit of glass paper, sandpaper, and just sand that blade, rough it up so it grips a lot better. Oh, somebody got a new Hegner. We've got Marty, got a new Hegner. Brilliant, fantastic. I was thinking one just removed the clamp down, but it's the whole arm piece. Yes. I was thinking, now sometimes it's slightly different. Sometimes these bits are slightly different on different Hegners, but basically, yeah, what happens, see, that is the same. There are different designs of scroll saws, there's different designs of Hegners, but with the Hegner, you have the pivot point is basically that one pivot point at the back of the scroll saw. And so what happens, if you snap a blade, that top arm, boom, it releases and the bottom arm just goes up and down, but it doesn't really do anything. The one thing you do have with some of the newer designs like DeWalt and Pegasus, you do have that tension still on, because it's the way there's sort of 5 or 6 pivots on them. So you still got that blade coming back down, which you've got to be a bit careful on your hand, that sort of thing. But yeah, this one, the Hegner, once, if a blade snaps or you release the tension, then that top arm, it loses any tension. The motor on the Hegner runs on the bottom arm. There's a plastic piece that connects directly from the motor to the bottom arm, so all of the mechanized sort of tension is on that bottom arm. The top arm is really sort of connected via the blade and then the pivot at the back. And that's how it sort of it functions. You have to force getting cut by a scroll saw. Yeah, a bit of a challenge, I would say. Yeah, I've never had any sort of bad nicks or anything like that from the scroll saw. You always, you know, it's a saw. You've got to be careful of the blade, but yeah, I regard it as one of the safest, if not the safest, machine that we work in. There's always a risk with anything, but for instance, our belt sanders, the motor is very powerful on that. You know, you can catch a bit of clothing if it's loose easily. The table saws, you've certainly got to be careful with those. The band saw is more aggressive. You know, the mortise drill, even the pillar drills, if you're not concentrating, are more risk. I'm more aware of risk with that one there. Hello, Iger, how are you doing? And hello to everyone, hope you're all well. We're going to cut out some of these letters and I'll show you then what we do with them to turn those key rings into a product. Actually, there, if you're going past again, those ones there, if you sand them all round, okay, if you get a chance, but and we demonstrate how to put it all together.
You want them shellacked as well, Hegner?
No, because we'll stick the letters on.
All right, okay. You want the surface sanded, yeah?
Yes, please. And then just the
Take the sharpness
sharp
off, yeah?
edge off as well. Fantastic. Now I've stopped it there because I'm going to put the plate back on. That's because it should make it a bit easier. Instead of what it is, when I cut the D out now, when I finish cutting it out, if it drops down there, then I got to go searching for it. So hopefully it'll cut everything out fine, and I'll have the 3D on top of the scroll saw. Just like so. So that gives us, we've got our key rings now, and we've got 3 Ds, 3 letter Ds, and what we would do then, we will super glue those on the front of our key rings, and they've got personalized items. So you can see again, just to go through that technique where we're using our hands to keep pressure down. One thing you can get with the Hegner, and it's a bit what we call here Marmite, you either love it or you hate it. There is a hold down arm, and that arm, it's an accessory that you can buy for the Hegner, and it holds the item down for you as you cut it out. I don't like it, I'm not keen on it, it doesn't work for me. Dad doesn't use it either. However, my brother Matt, he swears by it, he finds it a fantastic addition. So again, it's something you may want to look at if you have problems holding the item down securely and avoiding that sort of bouncing about as you go. So I'm going to continue now, and I'm going to cut out all of these letters. I've got another little item there to cut out as well. Oh look, hello Mark. Forgot to mention Mark, nice surprise today. We got to meet Mark, and it was very nice to meet you too. And you've managed to join us for the live stream, so fantastic. Hope you've had a great day as well down in Saundersfoot. Yeah, lovely to meet you today, and it was a lovely surprise, because I'll be honest, as I said to you, I thought you were in America. I didn't realise that you were here in sunny Wales. And yeah, always lovely. If anybody's ever in the area, it is always fantastic. We met Deb a couple of weeks ago. That was nice too. And so it's always great to meet people. It's nice to be able to have a conversation in person. There we are. So you've got those ones there. Those ones just need a bit of sanding down. So you can see, we put that now.
Do you want to cut these in half, or you know?
You can do. The other technique I do use, though, I stick them down and then I sand them afterwards. It's just as straightforward. So you can now see Thomas the Woodcarver has sanded those down for us. like so. And so we've got these, and what we're going to do, see, we're going to stick those letters into the center. Anybody doing like a craft fair or, you know, like an event, I know the carvers got one coming up. This is a fantastic one. We sort of call it a bread and butter item. You know, it's one that as many of them as you can make, you can sell. I would concentrate on certain letters though, you know, things like X's and Q's don't go so well. But because it's a personalized item, as many of these as you can make, you can sell. It's an item that you can sell as well for, say, less than $5. Or, you know, certainly we're selling them for £4.50 to give you an idea in the workshop. And they're really popular. And it's like a cornerstone of a business where you're making wooden items to sell.
check. I have.
Brilliant.
I've sanded at least one side for you, all right?
Fantastic. Is there a bit of super glue there as well in the accelerant?
Yeah.
Here we are. So
I have not a rant. It's not a rant. It's too hot to have a rant.
Too hot for a rant.
Yeah.
Hi to all on this. Hi, I just got home. So yeah. Well, as I said, yeah. Thank you all for joining us.
Where's the super glue there?
I think I put the accelerant. The super glues are over there, but I think I put the accelerant in the other room. Because the other thing as well, you could get a key ring one, and we can put it all together. To everyone, if you fancy taking family down to Oakwood Folly Farm, and you got some time, I highly recommend coming to see Danny Thomas. Very welcome and so much fun. Oh, thanks, Mark. No, it was lovely. It was lovely to see you, and it was fantastic to be able to share what we're doing at our family workshop. And yeah, it's you'll have to pop back down, and we'll have a look at those gouges and things like that as well. Yeah, Mark managed to come in when we had a coach group. It's always the way, Mark. We've been quiet the rest of the day, but yeah, always good to see you. Is your air hose fastened to your saw arm? Right, the air hose. Yeah, basically, this one here, it wraps around the back, and then there's the bellows that's attached to the bottom arm and to the machine itself. So as the machine is going, as the machine is working, going up and down, that creates a dust, that creates like an effect of a blower, and it blows that dust. Ingenious bit of engineering, really, isn't it? To think of that idea.
Oh, this series, then.
Yeah, we have. We got some round ones. They're in a grey bag in there, and then we got the other bits. Yeah, I got better ones of those as well. So yeah, it's an ingenious bit of work. But what they've done on more recent, updated versions of the Hegner, there's like a purple hose, and on Dad's, then, for instance, the blower comes more round to the side and it blows the dust away. Mine, the only issue with it tends to blow it straight into your face, which is where I have to wear a visor and glasses and things like that, to protect against that dust. The visor as well also protects against any stray blades. I can't quite see that part. I can. What I can do is I'll do a bit of zooming out for you so you can see it. Let's zoom it out. Right, so at the top of the screen, so basically this here is where the hose goes in. This can be adjusted in terms of height and level and things like that. There's then another tube that goes into a blower that is positioned behind the engine just here. There's like a bellows here at the bottom. And sometimes if you've bought a second-hand Hegner, sometimes the bellows is not actually on them. If you haven't got a bellows on there and it's missing that, it's quite a useful, important piece, and I would recommend contacting Hegner and getting a replacement part, because that blower makes a big difference to what we're doing. Right, let's cut out the J and the P, and we'll then go on to, we got a little Celtic design that we got there as well, waiting to cut out, and we'll cut that one out for you all to see, and we'll also then put together our key rings.
I've got the bigger.
You've got the bigger loops, and then there's other triangles that are a bit bigger than that. They're better ones.
Where are they then?
They're in the same sort of area.
Yeah.
Those ones are good ones. Yeah.
Hey, that's the right one, is it?
Yeah, that's the right ones.
There we go. So we got a number, how many letters we cut together? We cut out, well, Dad's cut one in half, so we got an extra one there. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 16, 17, somewhere around about there. And what that means then, see, is that is enough letters for making 16 or 17 key rings. How do you get on there, Dad? I'll have a look for them. I'll have a look for them later. So, what you can see, what we would do from here. He sanded down for me the D's. So, what we would do, and what I would try and do, for instance, I would try and pick one of the key rings that I think it'll stand up best on. So, for instance, if we put one on like that, yeah, and I get a little dab of super glue in the accelerants. Oh, you're welcome as well, Marty, no problem at all. And any questions you've got, Marty, about your new Hegner, yeah, feel free to ask them, because if we can help in any way, Hegner, fantastic scroll saws, fantastic, the engineering, do a brilliant job for us. Ours is, we got 2 here on site, and we've been using them for the best part of, well, I would suggest around about 20 years now. And they do a really good job for us. So we got that one there, and we just go, boom, like so. Got yourself a personalised keyring. Simple as that. And then, what we would do...
I can't find those larger ones there.
Let's have a little look. Unless we use them all, we have one of those there. But I've been thinking on my way home today, something to put on this year's spoon, right? I think on a number 10 with a boot kicking it.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah. And that's an interesting one, because of course the statue up in Vellinboyle is made of oak, isn't it? There we are. Yeah, nice idea. I quite like that, yeah. So you can see what we would do then, see, just tighten that up, tighten that clip up, and you've got yourself a simple little key ring. And as many of these as we can make, we can sell them.
Order some new ones of those, do.
Yeah, we might have to put in an order for some bigger clips again, some larger clips. But there we are. You can see, as quick as that, we would have ourselves a number. I don't know if you want to put a coat of shellac and put some of these together to show everyone, did. But
we're going to move first, don't we?
Yeah, so we've done that.
We'll do that one. Okay, I'll shellac this one.
Shamai, hello, Shamai, Ken. Yeah, all good here. Hope so. All is well with you. Thank you for joining us. Right, now to finish off, what we're going to do, we've been going through as well, Ken. Any tips, any advice you've got for anyone who's a beginner, an absolute newbie? That's the focus of today's demonstration, is really trying to give out a few little simple ideas to help anyone who is just at that stage where you've just maybe bought a scroll saw but you've never really done much. Just giving out a few little tips and ideas. Mark was also thinking of Downing Street. Oh, that was probably best avoided, isn't it? Downing Street. Wow, what a mess. We could do a party spoon. So what we're going to demonstrate now for anyone who is an absolute newbie with the scroll sawing, the stage that we go on from there is to do pierce work. So that's the next sort of part of the process. So you drill your pilot hole through, you then put your tension on the blades, and then we'll cut out that internal work. So once again, because we're doing pierce work now,
there's always a nice
we
bit
move that plate out of the way.
where you shellac and the colour comes up, Dave.
Well, here we are. Do you want to just sorry, I tell you what, as I'm sitting there, I'll demonstrate it for everyone. Look at this. This is spectacular, this wood. You can't beat this.
Lovely colour.
Fantastic.
What came to the attention today, because I think this is apparently going to be one of the hottest days in Wales.
Yeah.
And everybody's, you know, the latest thing is planting trees.
Okay.
And you know the government is saying plant
Which
trees,
we've
plant
been
trees.
which we've been doing for quite a while.
We've been doing that for about 30 or 40 years.
Yeah.
And now everybody's planting trees, and if you notice, they're planting these trees quite close together.
Yeah.
Well, you know, part of it is to save the planet, but
Look at that.
we're seeing
What
in
a beauty.
Spain and Portugal fires
Yeah.
because of the heat.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's great to plant trees, but I just hope that the people responsible
Are doing it responsibly, no?
are going to do it, you know, with the future in mind.
I always remember in Spain, they're so used to it. Where we go in Del Bierzo with where Yully's mum's town, you can actually see they bulldoze a line straight down the mountain.
Yeah,
So it's a fire breaks it.
I know the wind will carry.
But the problem is it can jump.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
understand.
and they
but,
bulldoze a
you
line
know,
right down the mountain.
I just, you know, I just hope that they do make an allowance for.
Oh, we got that blank oval works well if you do wood burning. Each serves as a mini canvas. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, funny I mentioned the.
There you go. It's a burning, wood burning. Absolutely. All good with Ken. And are we sweating in the workshop today? We are indeed, Thomas. Well,
No, we're very fortunate.
we'll give Thomas the woodcarver his dues. It's not fortunate. It's Thomas the woodcarver has a bit of he has a keen dislike for the sun.
Yeah.
As Mark may have noticed today when he met him. Oh yeah, the carver's just noticed as well. He said, "Lovely knees, Thomas."
Oh, you reckon?
go and walk back round there.
Yeah.
So everything with our workshop, it was built to.
They're actually quite
it was
sunburnt.
north-
Like
it was north
They're actually
facing.
quite sunburnt.
There we go. Those are
Yeah.
Thomas the Woodcarver's famous knees. He is he's known throughout the whole of Wales. He's well known.
We did have a gentleman from Australia who had never seen such white legs.
No,
He thought they were like 2 tubes of toothpaste.
that's right. Absolutely. But you've got to, they got to be careful what they say to you now, though, isn't it? Because it's it's
Yeah.
all the what's it called, the culture where.
Well,
The actual thing that they said is that the man that in question actually said that you were the whitest man he'd ever seen. Which I mean, technically now you should have been highly offended. That's very racist now, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that was how Thomas the Woodcarver was described.
Yeah.
And if YouTube's listening, it was a description, it was a quote. It wasn't me saying that. There we are. But yeah, those are Thomas the Woodcarver's famous legs. Right, we're going to cut out this. We're going to do some pierce work on here and just show you this little Celtic design. Trisclian.
Did you mention about the design of the workshop, though?
Yes, sorry.
There's a flow of air going through.
Well, Thomas the Woodcarver designed it so that everything is cool in the workshop. So we're not, basically everybody who's been coming in has said, oh, it's lovely and cool in here. And you built it north facing, didn't you? And things like that. So it is a bit cooler than everywhere else in and around at the moment. But we've got Spanish family across, and we had a Spanish family in the workshop, and they're all laughing that we're all struggling so badly with the heat because this is like early spring to them. They've got things like 40 degrees. What's that in Fahrenheit? I'm not sure what that would be in Fahrenheit, but rather hot.
85, 90 perhaps, is it?
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Well, I'll have a look now.
Ken said, as Ken has just said, his legs are whiter. Oh, fair play to you, Ken. That's good going.
does get to 40, it would be 104, I think it would be.
104. Well, that's
Fahrenheit.
there we are. That's where they are
Yeah.
in places like Madrid. They're not far off. They're probably around about 100 degrees Fahrenheit in Madrid. Now there's a
little pointer worth stopping for. The carver said, I never said my word. Yeah, so it's I think it's this all the time spent in workshops, isn't it? Away from the sun. There we go. I think that's what it is. What was it? One thing I was going to say, it's interesting as well, just worth sharing your mindset and your thought process.
Oh, I thought there was a leopard on there, some offcut.
No, it's just a little offcut. Yeah, your mindset and your thought process as you're cutting out things like this. What I've actually done is, as I've gone along, I've actually made that a little bit thicker because as I'm thinking, oh, it's ever so slightly delicate there. If I can give it a little bit of strength, it's, it just adds.
It's the same. It's the same with the key ring as well. Because
so
if you get too close,
to close to the edge, so you're thinking about adding that strength. So sometimes you're always looking at things.
Clip.
That's right. We have the bigger clip, so we can leave more strength in the wood. But yeah, as I was cutting that out, I thought I'll just go to the outside of the guideline, just so it's not too delicate. I just went back over that because, again, as you scroll saw and you just noticed that certain things, and I could see a scroll saw line left in, so I thought it best to take that one out instead of continuing. Right, so last little bit of the pierce work, then we cut the outline and we got ourselves 3 little mini pendants, or you could turn these into key rings, fridge magnets, all sorts that you could do. blade doesn't want to let it go. Let's see. There it is. There we are. Right, so we got 3, simple little items like so. Or I can just see there's a little line in there. There we go. Let's separate the top 2 like so. Plus we've got all of our key rings. I think he's taken the one off for shellacking, the one we were working on. In summing up then, if you are new to scroll sawing, if you're just starting out, some of the tips then we'd give, make sure you've got good blades. So we use the Nikwa number 9 reverse tooth blade. A few more mentioned. The Flying Dutchman one was mentioned. The Ultra Reverse number 5, another popular blade. And then it's basically make stuff, get in there and design stuff or use other people's designs. We put them on our website, so you're more than welcome to use any of the designs that we published on our scroll sawing page on the website, and make things, because if you're thinking of getting into it and even having a sideline or a business, that's how you're going to sell stuff, is by making it. Hope you all have a fantastic week. Thank you all again for joining us. Any questions, any thoughts you've got in the meantime, feel free to get them into us. But as always, we really appreciate the support. Lovely to meet Mark today as well, if anyone's passing. He's also had a little insight into some of the upcoming videos we've got, so you get a bit of a behind the scenes look and you find out what we're doing here at our family workshop. But thank you as always, and hopefully you'll be able to join us again next week, all going well. Have a fantastic week. All the best.